All right, but we got some reacts going on right now, and it's been about a week. So for those of you guys who like the React channel, there's actually been a few of you that have come to the Twitch channel and be like, "Do you just not do reacts anymore?" It's like, no, I just got a new puppy, and we spend a lot of time training her, and because she's going to be really big, and we're afraid, as new dog owners who've never owned a dog before, if we don't train her really well, she's going to bite a kid or something. So we don't want to be bad owners, so we've been spending a lot of time on that. Plus, Thorn and Liberty came out, so I've been spending a lot of time on that as well. So I just honestly just haven't felt like it, and but we're back, and because you guys want it so bad, I'm just kind of doing it. So Star Citizen overspends and regrets. This is from Galgot 100. So instead of putting things together from CIG, I think he's putting things together from other backers who want refunds or something. I'm not sure what this video is, but it was requested
Some Star
4
Citizen
times.
Overspend and regrets from the last 3 years.
Okay.
$25,000. Legatus Navium.
Once I went over 30K, I was kind of shocked. After 40K, I was embarrassed.
I've suddenly come to the realization that the $25,000 I've spent over the last 10 years could have been put towards things like a larger house deposit, paying off my car. Twice over.
I was one of the first backers and backed it to the tune of $35,000, and I feel like they've wasted my money, and I have every right to say as much.
When I first backed, I was a broke university student keen to play a game that sounded like it gave me everything I wanted. Over the years, I was suckered in by the video content, citizen cons, etc., and kept spending. Some 50% of my pledge ships are nowhere to be seen, but I kept jumping on the new concepts and getting drawn in by the hype around patch releases and citizen cons. Long story short, after some time thinking really hard about what I'd blown my money on, I've come to realize it was completely irrational.
Yeah, no shit. We've all been completely irrational. We're just lighting our money on fire for some dumb dream that there's going to be a game that's good. We all spent more money than we wanted. Well, not we all, but I spent more money than I would have wanted as well. But I think at the same time, if you put your money, if you put your bank account into some kind of financial tracker and saw what you spent on fast food a year, or saw what you spent on Red Bull at a gas station for a year, I'm speaking for myself, it would be a lot more money than you think. So over a few years, spending 20-something thousand on a hobby is not entirely unreasonable. It is incredibly unreasonable, but it is not the craziest thing of all time for people to get to these numbers. I think the number itself is what freaks out people. But if you spent 500 here, 500 there, 500 here, 500 there, over the course of 12 years, I can see the numbers getting into the thousands, right? The 25,000, these people, myself included, are pretty stupid. I'll always have my excuse, which was, I would say, maybe 60%, 75% of the money that I spent was given away to people in the Twitch channel because I thought that's what would grow it. And I soon realized that it did the opposite. It didn't grow it at all. It actually didn't make a community. It was horrible. It was people who showed up, never asked how I was doing, would have never asked how I did in the hurricane, which, is past. I opened my shutters today. They would just come in, and they would try to find out if there was a giveaway going on, right? And that's it. That's all they would care about. And I realized that what I was doing was really stupid and not making the Twitch channel I wanted to make. So what I did is I just stopped them. Straight up, cold turkey, stopped them. And my view count went from I think at the time was 100 to 200 viewers, and it was below 100. And I just kept going and going and going and working my way up. And now I actually have a community that I'm not exactly proud of. Some of you guys are really fucking weird, but for the most part, I'm pretty proud of.
have dumped like 50k or more into the game. I know that's a shitload of money, and most of the money was spent within the first year. Sincerely, an idiot that believed in a game.
Kickstarter.
Yeah, I mean, so all of these people are just admitting how fucking stupid they are. Like, what's the point of this? Is that the community is filled with dumbasses? Yep.
Starter backer, about
Gullible
40k
people.
invested. Have no desire to play games anymore. All accounts locked, and will wait to see if any of my nieces or nephews turn out to be gamers.
With every patch I see the future of this game getting darker and darker, and the fact that every patch takes longer and longer can only indicate that at the core it's either a mess or just impossible.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. That's a pretty true statement. I've been saying this for years. If CIG actually starts delivering on the game, people are going to realize that it's a game and that it's not a dream anymore. So I would say maybe a majority of people who back Star Citizen backed a dream and not a game. And the dream is only in their head. They will use the word dream as if it's like Chris Roberts' dream of making like the best game ever kind of thing. But in reality, it's the dream in their head of what this game will be. I specifically remember doing this with Mass Effect. So Mass Effect 1 came out. I didn't really know what it was necessarily or what it was meant to be. And then as I learned more about it, the whole it's going to be a trilogy and the decisions you make now are going to play into the game later. I was going on internet forums. We were speculating about what the story would be and what the decisions we made in Game 1 and how they would play into Game 2. I was obsessed, right? And it was, I was dreaming about what this trilogy, what this game would be. And it was so much bigger in my head than what it turned out to be. And I think we did that with Mass Effect was fantastic. It's my favorite genre. Like if I was a favorite game, I should say. If I was ever to get a tattoo of a video game, it would not be a fucking Star Citizen. I would never get a tattoo anyway, probably, but it would probably be a Mass Effect. And because that game kind of changed my outlook on games. I was just playing sports games at the time, like so much. I was just playing Madden. I was playing NHL and stuff like that. And then that game kind of brought me back to I came back to Ultima Online again and started playing MMOs and things like that after Mass Effect. So it had a big impact on my life. But in general, I remember thinking that this game would be the craziest thing ever. And it just wasn't. It was a great game, but it wasn't. Right? It just wasn't. And that's what everybody else is doing here, except Mass Effect, you bought the game and you were done. Here, you have the opportunity to continue to buy into the dream and be put more and more down the rabbit hole. Your dream would be better if you also owned a Carrack. Your dream would be better if you had a Kraken, right? Things like that. And that's the part that like us as gamers haven't changed, but they monetized that aspect of it. And good for them. They made a lot of money, and they're going to make a lot of money at CitizenCon and after CitizenCon and all that stuff. Good for them. But, I'm going to go ahead and assume that some of these aren't real, but I'm going to go ahead and assume that most of them are, right? So, because I remember in Mass Effect, and I did the same thing in Star Citizen 2. I definitely bought ships thinking I needed them for my dream of what I was going to be. The Starfarer was the one for me. You couldn't buy it. So I bought an Aurora LN. That was the first ship I bought. My girlfriend at the time, not Emmy, bought me, just said, here's $200. Buy yourself a Star Citizen ship. I get how much you love that game. So I bought a Constellation, Aquila or Aquila or whatever, because I wanted to do exploration. I thought that was cool. But I was obsessed with the Starfarer because I really thought I was going to fly around, go to gas giants or go to gas pockets, mine the gas, turn it into fuel, and sell it to people, right? I really thought that was going to be a thing. And it still might, but I thought it would be so cool. Like, I thought it was just going to be what I did all day, every day, and it was going to be epic, right? And you couldn't buy it, and I was thinking about going to the gray market to buy it. Oh, I was going to go to the gray market because I wanted it so bad. And I'm typically very good about stuff like that, where I want it, but I don't allow myself to buy it. So I never did until they made it available on the website, and it was very easy then. And yeah, I just wanted it. And if you have the income sitting around, if you have the money lying around, you might do it, right? I don't know if all these people had the money lying around, but yeah.
$15,000. Praetorium.
I call myself a fucking retard all the time because of it. I'm now 15K in.
Star Citizen will collapse, having never released any of the foundational promises made to the chumps or backers, however you prefer. And I'm saying that as a Praetorian.
All in all, I would never suggest anyone spend any money on SC. It's a rudimentary game lacking in any serious depth when compared to other games in the genre, and especially when compared to modern games as a whole.
I mean, I wouldn't call it rudimentary. It's pretty ridiculous. And that's the problem, is it's not rudimentary. If it was a rudimentary, like, idea, it would be a lot different. But I get what he's trying to say. There's no, like, foundation of a game. I mean, it's still in development. Okay, well, I'm going to come back to you with, it's 2024, dude. It's 2024. It is still in development. I get it. But the foundations of what you do and the game you play should not be this bad. Bro, I never said it's not supposed to come out. I never said either. But you're almost defending it as if it being in development, the state that it's in is okay. That's what a lot of people do. The state that it's in is not okay. It's not okay. And then what's worse is at CitizenCon, they made the point that the state of the game is their priority. And then it wasn't. It wasn't. Or it was, and they failed. One of the two, right? So,
low impulse control, poor financial decisions,
if we're all right.
Nothing else to spend money on, and wanting to help fund the development. I don't really spend much anymore, except the sub and around $50 per month. Also recommend to others not to spend money on the game, but most don't listen. Lol.
I could've got a car with the money I've spent on little fighters. It's simply not worth it. Every major answer to these issues is some Lucy with the football promise of a future patch, some other technical boogeyman that needs to be tamed. And in the meantime, the concept sails with constant power creep and constant punching above their weight language to distract from the glacial pace of progress.
I don't know if it's to distract. I think it's more, it's to continue the dream. It's to feed the dream. I guess that's distracting as well. Is the only thing that matters is what could be, not what is.
$10,000. Wing Commander.
Look, I want to see SC successful, or I'd have not poured over 10 grand into it. But my track record on backing stuff ain't great. I was a huge proponent of the Timex Sinclair home computers, which went defunct, the Handspring handset series, which was bought out and then went defunct, and the BlackBerry handsets, which went defunct. But don't let that get you down. I'm sure Star Citizen will be different.
Oh, he's saying that the Star Citizen
so
can go
impulsive I buy these
bankrupt or
things
whatever.
rather than a better.
Absolutely. Right? So I think this had the possibility of happening a few years back before they got that investor, right? I think the company was probably in a little bit of trouble where it could have. Oh, he invested his previous investments. So he's considering Star Citizen investment that he's supposed to get a return from. What a dumb fuck. Where did you ever get the idea that you would get any sort of return for your money in this? Some people do, I guess, but like, no, I'm not listening because I have family. a major hurricane just happened, guys. I have family asking me if I'm okay, and I have somebody who's in contact with like older friends of mine who I don't talk to really anymore, but I still care if they're okay. They were in Fort Myers, which was a very dangerous place, so I was just asking them. So yeah. So I just responding to some friends that I haven't talked to for a while. I think I've mentioned it in a few React videos before. Like, I'm one of those guys who I just focus on what I'm doing, and like I haven't talked to this is my best friend. I haven't talked to him in months.
Better computer to enjoy the game more. Running on a 10-year-old PC. Fuck my life.
I cannot even afford to have a healthy food where I live. But I saved a lot of money for the game. Not because just I love the game or trust in Chris, also because I wanted to invest all what I can in the best game that will change the world for the best.
I mean, Darwin effect. Like, dude, if that's your mentality, that's you're the dumbest human being on earth.
I justify it because the gov gave me
This is Darwin Olympics.
$8K in stimulus checks during COVID, so I said, fuck it, we ball.
Yep. Yeah. The money you needed the most, you said, "Fuck it, we ball." This is
Fresh out of the
some of the shit is fake. I think.
service, young and dumb with a bunch of savings, full of regret.
The Ferrari sure looks beautiful, but the motor is busted.
Yep. That's a good statement.
$5,000.
The Ferrari looks good, but the engine's busted.
Space Marshal.
I got over 8K in. I'd take a refund right now or sell my account if it was possible. I also need the funds as I had to walk from my job of 23 years to look after my wife. But I just do not believe in this project, and I am not fooled by their marketing anymore.
Lord knows I'm all in. Over $5,000 and no regrets on it. Calling it a loss. Check back and annually just not give money anymore. Was close to Wing Commander.
As someone
Yep, and that's the way to go about it. I just use my store credit now. I don't think I've put new money into the game for a very, very long time, and I'm not one of those people that's going to try to make back what I lost. I think when this is how I run my life, is when you make mistakes with your money, you eat it. You eat it, and it hurts. So you don't fucking do it again.
who has spent over $5,000, do not make the same mistake I did. The community is very good at getting you to invest in this project. Just wait and see.
At the 2014...
Like, I have every dollar I put into this game, I consider a mistake. The more I play on, like, an alt account with no ships, the more I realize how big of a mistake I made. Yet, I don't think I would have been able to play through the wipes. I mean, that's the big argument about the ship prices in the game versus the ship prices on the website. How many times do I have to earn a vulture in game? How many times do I have to earn a prospector in game? How many times do I have to earn a cargo ship in game before it's going to just stay on my account for a long time, you know? And that's what pushes people to buy ships a lot. And they know this. But it's also part of the development where they have to wipe. So it's like, you know, shit.
games.
They wipe, like somebody asked in chat, how often do they wipe? They wipe when they need to, and it's not on any sort of a schedule.
I was interviewed, and I told them that I recently upgraded to a Super Hornet, and that is it. There was no way I'd spend more money. 6K later, the video proof of my shame is still there on YouTube.
$180 bis jetzt. Und nicht mehr. Ich werde nicht mehr investieren, auf gar keinen Fall. No way.
I spent close to 8K on the game and even went to a Citizen Con. Spoke to Chris Roberts and believed in what he was selling. The guy is a straight-up con man, and I hope he goes to jail for massive fraud. We will never get thousands of people per server like he promised.
What fraud? He's just shit at his job.
Because it's not possible.
Or they're just shit at making the game, I guess.
No regrets because, without following the project as closely as I have, I wouldn't have such good examples of abysmal project management, piss-poor communication, and dipshit web store management.
Yeah.
I'm fairly certain that I can attribute about 10K of my salary to things I learned by watching CIG sprint headfirst into predictable walls.
I feel somewhat sad that as a younger
I appreciate that. CIG running headfirst into predictable walls. Look, there's a wall so many times, and they still just run into it over and over and over again. And they're like, oh, look, a wall.
man, I let FOMO literally take £5,000
Game development's really hard.
away from me in the drop of a hat. But I also realize when I see more recent marketing that it's sadly the whole strategy.
$2,500. Grand Admiral.
Got sick to my stomach. Sold my shit on the gray market. I was an experienced trader, but I was still terrified that someone might scam me out of my investment. Oh, the irony.
Comparing Star Citizen to investing is that you deserve it. You deserve it. You
Fell
deserve
into
this.
the idea for a month or two that if I just bought another JPEG, it would finally all start coming together. It would finally start improving.
Yes, your individual purchase is going to make the game, you dumb fuck. Oh my god, this is why it is the way it is. Your individual your purchase, your $100 is going to pay that 1 minute of development today. That minute is going to change everything. But guess what that $100 is going to do? It's going to go on some credit card for them to go to a Bar Citizen and buy a bunch of drinks. Good job.
Literally want to give this shit away because I'm done with this. It's another instance of Chris Roberts aiming high and then shooting himself in the foot with his own mouth. I worked with him once before, I've seen this, nothing new here. They are simply taking in pledges as a revenue stream. 3 different developers and 1 board member I interviewed have confirmed that server meshing is impossible with current technology, but CR
Yet here it is. In 2 different games, maybe more.
Won't allow them to backtrack on it because it's his reputation on the line.
I feel partly responsible as an original backer, spending an insane amount of money thinking I'm supporting
It was 3 years ago. 3 or 4 years ago.
the project. Why would RSI stop the gravy train and actually release the games?
Got my money back in 2014. I used the money to install a new septic tank on my farm.
Hell yeah, brother. Hell yeah. I mean, good for you. Anybody who gets a refund and is able to get it back, I think that's awesome, and I think that's totally fine. If you went through the process to get a refund properly, then because again, most people who backed this game for whatever amount, his refund was $3,800. I think if you spent over $3,800, you're the level of dumb that shouldn't be allowed to get a refund personally. And because that's just my mentality on things. I explained it earlier. You make the mistakes, you suffer them, so you don't make them again. But if he's able to get a refund, the next, great MMO or whatever that's going to come across, Ashes of Creation, he's going to back that and lose all that money too. But if you're able to get a refund, I do consider it a W because of the way things have been since approximately 2014, right? Where they did that thing, they asked the community, they shifted, and they shifted in a direction that made it impossible to deliver in any sort of reasonable time. They went so big that it got so stupid. And here we are, right? So.
Lol.
I paid $3,000 during the Kickstarter with funds I got working at a restaurant after high school.
Okay.
2 years later I went, well fuck.
They have complete development.
Like, spending $3,000 when you're in high school. I survived on $2,000 a year. Like, extra spending money. Obviously, I had my meal plan in college and all that stuff. In college, I survived on $2,000 a year. Right? So where's he getting $3,000? I don't know.
Development ADHD. I wish I could get back the almost 3K I dropped being excited for this game.
I don't know what that means. Development ADHD.
$1,000. Hi, Admiral.
Hi, Admiral.
For some of us, it is already too late. Save yourselves.
I have some friends who work in games. One told me there was no way he would go near this project with a 10-foot pole based on stories he was hearing, and that was years ago. But no, I spent thousands of dollars and hung on.
I can't take it anymore. There aren't any rationalizations that excuse the game for being in the state that it's in.
True.
I'm done. Chris Roberts is a con artist.
I realized SC makes me feel the same way.
Laughs in broke IRL.
NFT brothers and pump and dump scammers make me feel. Just blatant lack of empathy for people that just want to be happy and have no problem benefiting off other people's hope and loss.
10 years is a very long time to just load in, fall through an elevator, die, and then crash your computer.
Yep. That was 2 years ago. Still happens.
I try to stay away from SC website because I impulse bought my way into the concierge and I need to stop.
When I came in,
the next line in that is the Corsair flyable. He already wants to buy. The next line, he didn't even finish hitting the. He didn't even take his fingers off the keyboard yet.
There were some salty concierges, and I were like meh. And here we come full circle, and I'm the salty older backer.
I hope I'm at least around to get back pennies on the dollar if there's ever a class action.
I've always defended Star Citizen and SIG. I also work in the gaming industry, and I have developer colleagues who think SC is a scam, or rather a grift. Nah. I'm done.
I think to some extent it is absolutely a grift. Because I think they took your money from the dream of SC and put it into a single-player game that was Chris Roberts' dream, was to make the next Wing Commander. And we have not seen the result of it yet. We will probably almost definitely see the result of it this year at CitizenCon, and we'll see how much our money really went. To those investors out there, we'll see what we invested in, because we didn't invest in Star Citizen, apparently. We invested in something else. And then there's this whole Soul Singer thing that we have no idea what the fuck that is, but that certainly sounds like a game. So what's going on here, right? So there, to say that this is not a grift, or there isn't some scamming going on here, or they aren't misappropriating our funds, or there wasn't sort of a thought process going on here to make these things work. Yeah, it's a little crazy. It's a little crazy.
This won't come out in the next 20 years. Not saying this project is a scam, but it won't be what the Grand Visions have promised. Ever.
No, it won't. Because the Grand Vision promised is only in your head. Because they have never laid out what the game is. They have never. They just said, "Oh, you can just do whatever you want." It just is what it is. Because it's really easy to just say that, right? Instead of actually laying out, okay, these are the mechanics. This is the game. This is what you're going to be doing on a daily basis, and you either decide that you think this game is for you or you do not. They just put it out there, and it makes it seem like, because it's also beautiful, that this game is for everyone. No matter what, this game is for you. You can be a machinima artist in this game. You can be a PvPer. You can be a cargo hauler. You can do this. You could do that. But at this point, they have never laid out the why do you do any of those things. What turns the wheels of the Star Citizen game? The wheels don't turn. Or there's a hamster that died in 2014 that was turning some wheels, but it's been dead for a while and they haven't got a new one yet.
I had 2 fucking Banu merchantmen, 2 of them, with options to turn each into a Polaris.
Fucking idiot.
It was like a crazy person in a cell thinking he'd be king of the world one day. I don't justify it. It was multiple stupid decisions.
Yeah. The T-pose, while funny, is also insane. Well, that was a ride I wasn't expecting. I didn't think it would be as funny. And for anyone who gets offended by me calling them an idiot, because it's the internet, I guess, yeah, I'm an idiot too. I did some dumb shit. I bought into the dream until my eyes opened in around, I would say around 2015 is when I started realizing, like, yo, these guys have no intentions of making the game. They have none. And that's when I started, like, just being like, what are we doing here? Like, I can't loot anybody. When I kill people, nothing, they just disappear. Why am I attacking ships? What are we doing? Like, why are we doing any of this? I think around 2016, the wait for 2016 to 2017 is what really killed me. And yeah, and what's funny is how much backlash I got, right? I got so much backlash during those years because everybody still believed. And I believed that if they built the game, the foundation of the game, instead of the visuals of the game so they can continue to sell it, which I get it. Unfortunately, it was a situation that they kind of put themselves in, is that if the game didn't look good and didn't sell the dream, the game would have never happened. We would have never got to this point if they didn't do what they did. They probably would have just ended up closing the doors or greatly reduced the scope of the game, which is the argument that a lot of people make for all these funding actions. If they didn't scam all of those people in that Reddit thread, we wouldn't have a game, right? If they didn't make all of those people feel like they were stupid, we wouldn't have a game. But how does that make you feel? How does that make you feel like being a part of this? How does that make you feel being around it? It doesn't feel good, right? So a lot of the arguments are, if you did it this way, then it wouldn't have worked out. And it's like, is there a better way? Right? Is there a better way to do this? Could there have been better options? Could they have done things differently? I believe they could have done a few things differently, for sure. And I still think they can do a lot of things differently, and it's what keeps me around. I think that they still have a chance to make a really good game. I think CIG doesn't realize how lucky they are, or how much of a opportunity they have sometimes. And I think they really need to grab the bull by the horns. And I said this last year, and they didn't. And it's like, how many more years can we say this? I feel like they grabbed the bull this year, but they got knocked off. And hopefully, right, they've learned a few lessons and they hold on to the rope a little tighter. But like the word hope, like hopefully and maybe and all these things, like just constantly being a part of my vocabulary is just, it's getting old, right? It's just getting old and I can't do it anymore. It's just getting stupid.